Welcome to What in the World? Real news, sometimes weird, always funny. And this podcast is now a proud nominee of the Best of Cleveland 2026, along with Cleveland 13 News, Matt Grimminger and Nikki Brown as Best News Reporters, and Marcus Donald as Best Sport Reporter. And of course, Paul Seaburn for What in the World? Best podcast news. I love it. I mean, we've been doing this now for 9 years. So it's about time we really got recognized, don't you all think?
I agree. Oh, I'm sorry.
If everybody wants us to win, they have to go to the show notes because we will have the link in there for how to vote. You can vote every single day up until June 15th. So tell all your friends, tell all your coworkers, tell anybody who has a computer.
Neighbors, yeah.
Absolutely. In the meantime, continue to follow our shenanigans as we search for Bigfoot. The search continues until next week, Thursday, June 11th, when Paul, John, and I will be joining the Mahoning Scrappers at their baseball game. But they will be called the Grassmen that night. And the Grassman is the Ohio native Bigfoot. So that's how we're looking for Bigfoot. And Paul and John found a footprint, but we didn't find any DNA. So I don't know. It may have been, Shaquille O'Neal's footprint. I have no idea. It was big. But be that as may, we have two wonderful sponsors. We have the Beer Belly and Deli in Northfield, Ohio, Northfield, Macedonia. They're right on 82. Can't miss them. And we have Bigfoot Landscaping in Oakwood Village. We want to thank them for supporting us and supporting Bigfoot. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Paul because he knows what we're talking about. And just in case you're wondering, John DiNallo's not here today. He's on a mystery trip. He didn't even tell me where he was going. How do you like that? Okay, Paul, it's all yours.
Well, that's it. John's on probation now. If he didn't tell you where he was going, Karen. Thank you for that great introduction from Karen Hale, our producer, media mogul at newclevelandradio.net, and co-host of What in the World, everybody's favorite weird news podcast, and now Cleveland's hopefully favorite news podcast. I guess that's it. Local news podcast. There we go. From Scene Magazine. For you longtime Clevelanders, this is the online version of that magazine you used to pick up for free a long time ago to find out what bands were playing at what locales, what movies were playing, all the weird classifieds. That's that same Scene Magazine, but now it's called Cleve Scene, and we'll be putting up a link to allow you to vote for us in a couple of minutes. Plus, as Karen said, it will be in the notes. And in case you're wondering, as Karen said, I'm Paul Seaburn, your host. I have thank you so much for joining us wherever you're joining us from. Both Karen and I have links on Facebook. Thank you, especially if you've joined us through our partner, News 13 Cleveland. Cleveland 13 News.
Cleveland 13 News.
Cleveland 13 News, WCTU. We'll get it one of these days. So we're so thrilled to be nominated as part of Cleveland 13, and congratulations to the other podcast and the other newscasters and everybody else who is nominated at Cleveland 13. We're trying to get a sweep. We're hoping for a sweep. So and if not, but we're in good company. That would be the best way to put it.
At least we're nominated.
It's an honor to be nominated. That's right. It really is an honor to be nominated. So even though we've been working at it for 9 years, as Karen mentioned, so it's about. I heard a guy say on an interesting quote this morning. He said that the path to, let's see, it's a slow move to finding what you want to be, to slow it rather than something along those lines. Not so much that where you're going, but where you should be, So we have found where we should be, and I think that's perfect. I think this is a great thing, and more good things will be coming from What in the World as the time goes on. So please visit us at YouTube. You can find the links to YouTube on my Facebook page, also on my website, paulseaburn.com. You can go to Clarence. You
I got a new name today.
I merged about 4 different names together in there, Karen. You can go to Karen's site, newclevelandradio.net, links to our site, to all the great podcasts that Karen is working on, sites to our sponsors, Bigfoot Landscaping Supply. I think the full name is Bigfoot Landscaping Supply. Huge Bigfoot sign out front. You can't miss it if you're going down 271 North. And also Beer and Belly Sports Grill in Northfield on Route 82. You can't miss it because it has a big Bigfoot, an actual animated Bigfoot out front.
Bumble is his name.
Yeah, that's right. And it emits a Bigfoot howl. So I'm surprised. It sounds pretty good. I've heard Bigfoot howls, recordings of Bigfoot howls, and this is a good one. I'm surprised Bigfoot hasn't showed up there to do God only knows what with Bumbles, whatever.
With Bumble, yeah.
Yeah. But so anyway, so why were we nominated? Because we are really the only supplier of real news, sometimes strange, always funny, certainly in the Ohio, probably in the United States, and I'm going to guess around the world. We're providing a unique form of news. There's no politics, there's no business, there's no religion, there's no crime, there's none of the things that put you in a bad mood when you listen to other newscasts. Think of us as fun news, funny, fun, strange news from around the world, sometimes around the universe. We want you to come to visit us for an hour and forget about everything else, have some fun. We certainly have fun during the show. We hope you do too. That's our goal. Sure, it's news, but we want you to have fun and enjoy your hour. Put you in a better mood for the rest of the day. And if you need more, listen to us again. Or
that's right.
Go to our podcast site. All of the podcasts we've been doing for the past 9 years are there. You can listen to them. Please subscribe if you do that, because that helps us to keep track of how many people are listening to it, along with the information we get from Channel 13. So, all right, I've talked long enough. All of that was for our new visitors from our nomination for best local podcast. So
yes.
Again, thank you so much if you're joining us the first time. Thank you so much if you're one of our regulars. We appreciate all of you, and we've got a great show for you. John's not. I was just looking at the screen to see where John was, and he's still not here. He will be back next week. But we're going to be talking about, as Karen mentioned, I'm going to mention once more our trip to the Bigfoot baseball game coming up. We also will be. We've got a couple other Ohio stories. I've got an Ohio man who slinked his way into a world record, and you'll find out what that means, but you got to listen in. Getting your trees trimmed by a helicopter, and that's happening right now in North Wayland, which is a suburb of Cleveland. We'll talk about that. Some unusual things to do while running marathons, really running anywhere, but this guy did something really unusual running a marathon. We've got a record for paper cups with a very interesting link to someone from Ohio. So I didn't know about this till I did the research on the story. It's really, really a cool link. A puppet you don't want to mess with. And I messed with puppets before, and I wouldn't mess with this one. And it's not that kinky kind of stuff for those of you out there thinking, get that thought out of your head. And also some furniture you wouldn't want to sit on. Plus, we've got more odd news. I think I have a sport, even if John doesn't. So we'll talk about some sports. We've got trivia. We've got world records. And then, of course, at the end, we play everybody's favorite weird news game, Bluff the Co-host. Oh, you'll want to stick around for that if you're a new listener. So let's get right to it. Now, our regulars know that we have photos that go with many of our stories, and it takes me a minute to get set up here. There we go. I think I've got the photos up here. So please, that's a great reason to join us on YouTube and check out the photos that go along with the show, including this one right here. This is a beautiful announcement of our nomination with everybody else at Channel 13 for best local podcast, best local news podcast. That's what we are.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, looks good. Looks good. I have my hat. I was going to wear my hat today in case anybody didn't recognize me, but it looks better in the picture than it does online. So I'm just going to.
Looks fine.
Nice coat. That's not my coat. I'm hoping that maybe they'll give me that coat.
Maybe.
Looks good. Fits well. Okay. So Cleveland 13. Vote. Here's the site to go to if you're listening in. Go to vote.clevescene, that's CLEVESCENE.com/people-and-places/best-local-TV-newscast. That's us.
That'll be in the show notes, and also
and
we
it's
will
in the
put
show
it on
notes as well. Thank you,
numerous times.
In case you're out listening, you're on your walk and you're listening and you can't find a pencil or a leaf or something and some paper on the ground to write it down. It's in the show notes. Take a look at it when you get home. Let's see. So we're going to be in less than 2 weeks, a week and a half. We will be going to the Mahoning Valley Scrappers game. I just passed the exit. I was on the turnpike this weekend going east, and I passed the exit. So it's not far. It's part of Northeast Ohio, which is why we're talking about it. Plus, the Scrappers are doing such a cool thing. We talked about Bigfoot visiting the Northeast Ohio area this year, and it was a visit that the people in the paranormal world are still talking about because there were 8 Bigfoot sightings in 10 days. Never happened. And they were moving across the state like they were on some sort of migration. People are all excited about it. John and Karen and myself went on a Bigfoot hunt. We visited our sponsor. We also went out in the woods to see if we could find anything and howl. And Karen was right. John and I found a footprint. I'm not sure if it was Shaquille O'Neal. I think it might have been Myles Garrett practicing running out of town.
Would have been, yes.
he's pretty big himself, and this is Tuesday. It was just announced last night that Myles Garrett was traded to the LA Rams. So we wish him well, and we're looking forward to all the new players that the Browns got. John will be talking about more of that as we go. So here's there's a picture of Karen and myself on the hunt. There we go. Look at that. Boy, what a nice. Yeah, we made a good looking pair there looking for Bigfoot.
We certainly do.
Show up. Yeah, I thought he would show up to take a picture of us, or maybe get a selfie with us. So anyways, what else do I have here? Oh, here's the Scrappers. Again, I think Karen will have this in the show notes. The Mahoning Valley Grassmen is what they're changing their name to for one night only. A lot of fun. They've got T-shirts. They've got hats. I think they're going to have some other kind of promotional stuff. Karen and John and myself will be talking to people there, trying to get the feel for what people think about the promotion and about Bigfoot and the Grassman and all that other good stuff. So we got one more week. We'll talk about it next week, and then the big event on June 11th. So definitely mark your calendar. Okay.
That's right.
Yes. So let's get to this is a cool story from Westerville, which is south of here. It's a big, very nice suburb of Columbus. If you haven't been down there, very, very pleasant area, a little northeast, I believe, of Columbus. So the family there, by the name of the Luke Singers, the Luke Singer family, a man and his wife and their young son, they decided they wanted to set a world record. And they found the world record that they wanted to set. So they went to Otterbein College, which is located in Westerville. Nice nice local liberal arts college. I've been there. The college that John and I went to, John Carroll, we played them in football and other sports. So, but we're familiar with them. So they went to Otterbein Stadium. Why? Because they wanted to set the world record. Oh, there's our other sponsor there, by the way. What would you say to a naked space alien? My book, available at Amazon.com. Okay, sorry for that commercial break. Now back to our story. So the family went to Otterbein Stadium to set a world record for the most number of steps that a slinky took. So, you know,
Wow.
the slinky toys, if you put them on a step and you kick it slightly,
Yeah.
they go down the stairs all by themselves. So turns out there's a world record for this, Karen. I didn't know this. I don't know if anybody else knew.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So the father, he gets up at the top, with his wife is up there taking pictures. The son is at the bottom, and they set a world record for the most stairs descended by a plastic slinky toy. It went down 53 steps of the stadium before it finally got tired out. There was, I think, one or two steps left that just couldn't make it, but 53 steps was still beyond the previous record. So the family and the slinky both set a world record.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? So, and pretty fast too. With some of the athletic people from Otterbein were there from the college, and they offered the Slinky a job as a fitness coach because he did so well going up and down the steps. The
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The so this was a typical liberal arts school, so they're already offering a degree in slinky physics for all the kids that want to learn how to do this and maybe set the record of their own.
Okay.
I saw somebody try this at a Browns game last year, and unfortunately, it was during the first quarter, and unfortunately, the poor Slinky kept getting stepped on by people leaving during the first quarter. So
Yeah.
maybe this year the team will be better, and you can try the Slinky record again. Maybe we can do it. We could do a field trip to the dog park.
Ooh, I think
Yeah,
we should. Yeah.
yeah. Now this guy's an interesting guy. The Luke Singer, Mr. Luke Singer, soon to be Dr. Luke Singer. He's in his fourth year at the Yale Medical School. So,
Wow.
yeah, smart guy. You know, he doesn't know anything about physics, but he knows something about long, elongated things. So to make the Slinky go faster, he gave it a colonoscopy before
Oh,
he got he checked
okay.
he checked that Slinky inside and out. Let's put
Uh,
it that way. That's all I'm gonna say. Now, getting back to Otterbein College, since we're talking about Ohio, Otterbein has a couple of very famous graduates. The first one was Gordon Jump. Now, most people won't recognize his name. He graduated in 1955. He was an actor. He's better known as Mr. Carlson.
in WKRP in Cincinnati.
There you go, Karen. That's exactly right. WKRP in Cincinnati. I know Karen loved that show. I love that show. So he played Mr. Carlson, the station manager, station owner. He was the owner. He inherited,
Yep.
I think his mother. His mother owned the station, and he worked for her. He was born in Centerville, Ohio, which is a suburb of Dayton, which is way down in the corner. You know, it seems kind of contradictory for a city in the corner of the state to be called Centerville, but nonetheless, that's what it is. Uh, in high school and maybe in college, no, it wasn't in college, but in high school, he worked at WLWD, the TV station in Dayton, Ohio. So here's a guy. Years later, he plays a radio station owner on TV, but he originally started as at a real TV station in Dayton, instead of
Yeah.
in Cincinnati. Yeah. Now, for those of you of a certain age, of which Karen and myself and many of our listeners are, you'll also remember Gordon Jump. He was the Maytag repairman. Uh, and he was that until I think he passed away, and out of respect for him, Maytag no longer ran those commercials anymore. Also, Maytag started making more reliable washers and dryers, so you didn't need to call the Maytag repairman anymore.
He was the lonely Maytag repairman.
Lonely, that's right. Now, yes, exactly. Now, to show you how old, I think Otterbein is over 200 years old. It's a really one of the first colleges to open in Ohio. The other well-known graduate is Benjamin Russell Hanby, who I believe graduated in 1858. So that's what is that? That's not quite 200 years ago,
Yeah, yeah.
75 years ago. Nobody knows who he is. I'm going to tell you. He wrote two of the most famous Christmas songs of all time, Up on the Housetop and Jolly Old St. Nicholas.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
we sing those songs all the time, Karen. And
Yeah.
if you don't know that there was a real person at one time who wrote the song, put the lyrics in it, and that was Benjamin Hanby, who went to school, graduated from Otterbein University in
Yep.
Otterbein, Ohio. So salutes to him, salute to Otterbein, go Cardinals, and
Yep.
salute to the Luke Singer family for getting their world record. Okay, story closer to home. This is from North Royalton, Ohio, which is just west of where we're at in our suburbs, where Karen and John and I live. John lives in North Royalton, as a matter of
Yeah.
fact. Yeah. So police in North Royalton this past week were warning residents to be on the lookout for this. And what this is a helicopter with
Wow.
10 saw blades spinning, hanging from the bottom from a chain, like on like a chainsaw. That's a chainsaw hanging in the sky that First Energy, our local energy company, was using to trim trees along power line. Now, there's about 10 different dangerous things going on there, right?
Yeah.
I don't, I don't even, I don't want to see it. I don't want to get it getting anywhere near my house. But nonetheless, people in North Royalton said they saw this chopper and they were really glad to be warned about it. Uh, if Bigfoot was passing through, I'm guessing Bigfoot would have climbed up in a tree and got a haircut while he was,
Yeah. Exactly.
as long as you didn't get too close to those blades. Um, I was thinking if this seemed like a very complicated thing. If somebody asked me, we need to trim these trees and we were going to use a helicopter to do it. You got any ideas? What I would do is I would hang a bungee cord from the bottom of the helicopter, and then I would get somebody with a chainsaw and attach them to the bungee cord, and then just drop them out. And they could be going up and they'd be bouncing up
I
and
don't think
down.
so.
Wouldn't that work, Karen?
That'd be just as dangerous. Yeah.
I don't know.
Wow.
I'll tell you what, I know some people who would pay to see that video.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I just can't imagine this around power lines either.
Yeah, well,
It's
that's what
scary.
I was thinking. It's like a horror movie.
Yeah.
It's who's gonna keep the helicopter away from the power line, which is what they're trying to keep the trees away from the power line.
Yeah.
It seems to me like the saws might be a little more dangerous and cause a little more problem. I was thinking, I would love to write a movie script. I was trying to come up with a scary horror movie. The only movie I could come up with was the Texas Air National Guard Chainsaw Massacre, which might be a
Yeah.
title for a movie. Yeah, I don't know. Or this could be the escape vehicle for a James Bond villain. You remember?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
remember Goldfinger? This villain's name would be Nine Fingers.
Oh, yep. Yep.
While he got too close to his own invention. So so I was just thinking also this maybe this was the reason why they call helicopters choppers, because somebody thought, well, one of these days maybe they'll use it to chop down trees or chop down branches, so we'll call it a chopper. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's just me. But there's 10 saw blades. For those of you who can't see the photo, you really need to see it. 10 saw blades hanging like down, one on top of the other, hanging from what looks like a chainsaw body, and then from the bottom, from some kind of chain or cord from the bottom of the helicopter, spinning away. The
Wow.
Yeah, the guys on this old house, they must be having a heart attack watching this. This is the coolest thing to them. You could see them building houses with this. They could be done in a half a day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, cutting up all the pieces that they use. And then I thought, maybe we shouldn't be showing this, because what if somebody's watching this and it's one of these guys that has a drone and he's thinking, oh man, I could do this. I could do this. I could hang my bandsaw from my drone and fly it around the neighborhood and offer tree trimming service.
Oh my God, no.
Yeah. Maybe it's just me. Maybe maybe he lower your expectations. Maybe he would just stay like maybe 8 feet above the ground and trim hedges.
Bushes.
Yeah, or maybe stay like 4 feet above the ground and give dogs a trim.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. People in Parma were worried about this because Parma's right next to North Weldon, and they have all those pink flamingos in their yard. They were afraid, that helicopter gets down a little too low, it starts lopping the heads off their pink flamingos.
Yeah.
And those are valuable. You don't want to be doing that. So I think one last thing. If any cats are out there watching it, if this doesn't convince you not to climb trees anymore, there's something wrong with you. Definitely. This is the scariest thing I've seen lately. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. So we're moving from the Cleveland area, from the Northeast Ohio area, to almost outer space with our next story. As I said, what in the world? We travel around the world. We even leave the planet. So this is from almost outer space. A guy by the name of Robert Gordon McAfee, 97 years old, celebrated his 97th birthday by becoming the oldest man to fly in zero gravity. So he went up in that plane that the astronauts use to train for being in weightless condition. You can also apparently buy a ticket and get on there yourself. So that's what he did to celebrate his 97th birthday.
Wow.
Zero gravity for your birthday. He set a record because he was 97. His dentures didn't set a record, but they did fly it. They flew out of his mouth and they floated around and bit 3 people on the plane. So you could tell he was 97 because of the stuff that was flying out of his pockets. He had some Kleenex, he had a bottle of pills, his heart pills, some hard candy. Grandpa always has hard candy in his pocket. He even had a coupon. He had a coupon for 10% off the flight. That flew out of his pocket. Yeah. So I'm thinking, this had to be expensive. But then again, maybe it's less expensive than and certainly more fun than eating prunes to get your bowels moving. Because I guarantee that's what happened to this guy. So this was a gift to him for his 97th birthday by his granddaughter. Now I thought, oh, how nice! What a nice gift. But then I got suspicious. What if on the way to the airport to get on the plane, she stopped at the lawyer's office and said, "Hey, Grandpa, how's your will looking?
No.
Am I in your will?" To me, this does not appeal to me at all, Karen. I don't know if it appeals to you or to anybody out there. I don't like falling out of bed, and this is like falling out of bed except for the last part. So if I wanted to get the feeling of falling out of bed without the landing, I suppose I would do that.
See, my husband would have loved something like this.
Really?
Yeah,
Now,
he would have said, "Why not?" Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem to be the type who would. Now I could see him bouncing off the walls.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything that had to do with space, he wanted to be part of. Yeah.
About that, I never would have suspected that. So, Rich, well, you bounce. I'm sure you're bouncing around wherever you're at now.
Yep.
So one final thought: this plane is called the Vomit Comet for obvious reasons, because of the what happens when you go 0G, until you get used to it. But if you're 97 years old and you're in this, it's called not the vomit comet, but the hemorrhoid asteroid, because,
Oh,
because of what it does to you. And on that note, we better change the subject. So let's get back down to earth here, to marathons. So I've run a few marathons in my day, quite a while ago, but nonetheless, I have run and completed marathons. I have seen people doing strange things during marathons and other races, but never what this guy did. His name is Simon Fannin, and Simon, he's in England. He ran the London Marathon. He set a world record in the London Marathon for the longest scarf knitted while running a marathon.
oh
Who knew
my
that?
God.
Yeah, who knew there was a record for that? There's a record for everything. So that was his record.
Yeah.
Longest scarf.
How do you knit while you're running?
See, you can see, Karen, he had two knitting needles in his
Yeah.
hand, and he held it in front of him, and somehow kind of look down, look up, look down, look up while he's while he's running. I suppose I don't know if you can
Wow.
knit without looking. Scarves are fairly simple, I suppose. Um, I don't know. If you're cold while you're running, wait till it's summertime and run.
Yeah.
It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me to be knitting a scarf, and I've been in this situation. If it's on a cold day, what I would do is I'd find two guys who were breathing really heavily, and I'd try to squeeze in between them and let the hot air from each side keep me warm.
Not
Uh,
a bad idea.
I
Yeah.
know, yeah, until they started looking at me funny, and then I thought, I better not do that either. The So guess what? Not only did he knit a scarf, but he got the world record. The world record now is 18 feet 3 inches in
Wow.
26 miles, 26.2 miles. I think he did it in 5 hours and 48 minutes. He knitted a scarf that's 18 feet long, over 18 feet long. Uh,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. It was somebody was running by him and tried to steal the scarf when they were running to the porta potty, but luckily he grabbed it because no, you're not taking that in there. I don't know what you're going to do with it in there, but you're not taking it. Um, Now I've seen people juggle while they're running. That's called joggling. Juggling while running or jogging is called joggling. I've never seen anybody do anything this complicated
Yeah.
also running. Um, you know what it's called when you drop your needles while you're doing this? It's called
No.
annoying. That's what it is. It's not joggling, which is followed by tripping, and then it's followed by swearing. Uh,
Yeah.
so as I said, he ran 5 hours and 48 minutes. That's not a bad time. Most marathons have like a 6 hour cutoff. So he wasn't going very fast, but even so, I'm not criticizing him at all. The scarf, unfortunately, was disqualified because it didn't have a number on. So, but
Okay.
I thought about this. I thought about doing maybe a 5K or something and attempting to knit something, but I'm intimidated. 18 feet. If I got maybe a wristband or a headband done, I'd be thrilled. Eight, 18 feet worth of scarf. Um,
Well,
so
do you know how to knit?
but just barely from
Oh,
watching my lovely wife. Uh,
okay.
when she knits, she knits and crochets all kind of stuff. So Karen, I would probably just get the yarn and tie it in knots,
Yeah.
and, until it looked like something like. And the worst thing is, my fat thighs still rub together, so I always stopped at the aid stations and I would get Vaseline and rub it on my thighs so they don't rub. But of course, you get Vaseline on your hands, and then right away those needles shoot out of your hand.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
afraid I'd stab the person in front of me with my needle. So I don't know. It just doesn't look like. God bless him. Good for you for getting a world record. Not my kind of thing.
Absolutely.
However, I have tried what's coming up next. So our next story, it's unbelievable. hair salons in Europe are donating the clippings from the floor, the hair clippings, to a company that grinds them into mulch, and then they sell it, and you can spread it around your trees to keep away deer. Here, that's what this lady. This is an illustration of a lady who with long hair who had some cut off, and the deer is mad because he doesn't like the way it smells. I guess that's what it is. I don't know. I'm putting words in both the deer and the lady's mouth. So anyway, not only does it keep deer away, it's also good fertilizer to help your plants grow. Now, I've put my hair out in my yard, and you can see what I look like. Needless to say, all of my trees lost all the leaves on the top, and all around the bottom is what something that looks like snow, but I don't think it's snow. So, if you're worried about it taking on the characteristics of your hair, get somebody else's hair. However, there's some of the salons also do manscaping, and they said that those salons, when they put their hair out there, their trees grew really straight and really tall, and that's all I'm going to say about that. You can figure it out yourself. So deer hate the smell of human hair. They hate the smell of human hair. So I was thinking maybe I should, we live in Northeast Ohio with all these deer. Maybe if you could cover your bumper, your front and your back bumper with hair, that might keep the deer from running in.
Yeah, might be. Yeah.
Yeah. We should investigate that. We could get nice side hustle for us, Karen.
Yeah.
But my fear, I put hair all over my yard to fertilize and keep the deer away, and then it rains and it all gets worse, washed down the storm drain, and then it gets clogged, and the city people come out and they snake the drains and they find all this hair. And that first thing they're going to do, they're going to go door to door wanting to know who's taking a shower in the street and
that's right. Yeah,
clogging up their drains. And of course, as I've said before, I know plenty of guys who would pay good money to see that. Not necessarily to see me showering in the street, but to see someone showering in the street. So I don't think that's going to happen.
I hope not.
The other thing I thought of is to go along with our Bigfoot theme and our Bigfoot hunt. What if we collected all the hair and made it into a giant hair figure to put in the yard? Not only will it keep the deer away, but it might attract Bigfoot.
It might. I like that idea.
Well, I liked the idea until I started to think, well, what would Bigfoot do once it found this giant furry thing in my yard that looks an awful lot like another Bigfoot. And then I thought, well, maybe send them over to see Bumbles over at
Yeah. Probably.
Let them deal with whatever Bigfoot wants to do with something that looks a lot like Bigfoot. Okay, so this story comes to us from Japan, from Maine. We go all over the country for our story. This was a fun one from a high school in Maine, the Mahoning Valley High School. The students in one class were baking dirt, and they were doing this to test the properties of dirt after it was baked, if plants would grow better or worse. What they did, though, when they were done, is they put it in the refrigerator, where it was found by some other students who decided to serve it in the cafeteria.
Oh.
Yes, yeah. Unfortunately, the cafeteria ladies found it, and being good cafeteria ladies who had been there for a long time, didn't stop them at all. They treated it like anything else. They covered it with gravy and kept right on serving it.
Okay.
Then a couple of the students tasted it and they realized it was dirt. So being typical high school students, they did what any other high school student would, and they found some freshmen and they made the freshmen eat it. So yeah.
Yeah.
So as I said, the plants don't like baked potting soil. But they found out that the plants did like the mystery meat that the ladies began serving after all the dirt was gone. Kids, don't try this at home. Eating dirt is not good for you, not even as a prank. So don't do it unless it's that fake dirt that comes with gummy worms, you know, that dirt.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah,
good.
you like that stuff, Karen. It's the made with crunched up
Yeah.
chocolate wafers and Oreos. You know, if you want to really get it nice and sweet, you crush up Oreos. This is the thing I always tell people: if you can have a bowl of that before you go to see your dental hygienist, and I guarantee she'll remember your name. She will
Yes, she
definitely
will.
remember. But the first thing she'll do is she'll drag out the biggest meat hook that she has to clean all that gunk out of your teeth with. And
Yep.
don't blame me for that one. You're the one who decided you were going to do it. Okay. Now, I've never been a Ferrari fan, mostly because I could never afford a Ferrari. But I might now because Ferrari has unveiled their first electric car. Beautiful car. There's a picture of it right there.
Yeah.
It's the 2027 Ferrari Luce, Luce. I think that's the way it's pronounced. Sticker price $645,000 for
Whoa,
one.
whoa, whoa. That's more than a house.
Yes, more than many houses, more than
Yeah.
many two houses. Elon
Wow.
Musk. Now, Elon Musk had a Tesla once, a Tesla that was worth that, but then he found his wallet in the back seat where he had dropped it, and as soon as he
Oh,
left, the value of the car went down substantially. Uh, you know, this is a high performance car. You have to get high test electricity imported from Italy in order to power. Yeah, yeah. It gets a 1,035 horsepower from 4 electric motors in this car. This this car is so fast that little horse that normally on the front of a Ferrari, he's in the trunk hiding. That's how fast.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
this is Ferrari's first 5-seat car. Now, I've been in the front seat of sports cars and I have been in the back seat of sports cars. Normally, if you want to get if you want to get 3 people in the back seat, first thing you have to do is give them an awful lot of Ozempic and wait a few months. That's it. But apparently they're bragging about this that you can put three people in the back seat. I don't know. Um, the $645,000. You turn on the windshield wipers, and the car immediately takes over and pulls you into a tunnel because you're not supposed to be getting a $645,000 car wet in the
Yeah.
rain. Yeah. So it waits. It waits until the rainstorm stops. If you get a flat, the car calls your lawyer to sue the people who made the nail that you rolled over. That's that's how smart this car is. It has a trunk. It actually has a trunk. I saw it opened up. Basically, if you're driving this Ferrari, you have a glove box which is big enough for one of your gloves, and now you have a trunk which is big enough for the other glove. So you can finally put both of your gloves someplace in the car while you're
Got
driving.
it.
Yeah,
Okay.
excellent stereo system for $645,000. It better be.
Yeah.
You get Mariah Carey sitting on one side of the back seat, and Yo-Yo Ma with his cello filling up the rest of the back seat. That's the kind of stereo you get. Okay, police in Massachusetts, Stoneham, Massachusetts, is the city. They're looking for the owner of this. This is a seven. It
Oh.
doesn't look like it. This is a model, I think. 7 foot 7 inch tall, scary giant puppet which somebody found and brought it to the police station, which they weren't too happy about. It has red hair, has no eyes, and it's wearing a clown costume. So all 3 of those things together make this a very
Yeah.
thing. You know, and if I'm the police, I'm not sure I want this thing. I don't want to find the owner of a 7 foot tall puppet because I don't want to be dealing with somebody who has an arm and a hand long enough to shove up the buddy and make the mouth move.
Oh,
I don't want to meet that person. I don't want to
no.
meet that person. Uh, so they think that it was part of a puppet show, a weird puppet show. Here's the name: Kukla, Frankenstein, and Ollie. Now, Karen's laughing. You have to be of a certain age
Certain age, yes.
to know who Kukla, Fran, and Ollie were. Um, this is the kind of puppet that's so scary. It would make Howdy make a duty. That's how
Oh, yeah,
scary
it
it is.
would.
You have to be even older, I think, to remember that reference. Um, so So they couldn't get the puppet into the police station. They didn't know how to get it in. So they called the mayor, and the mayor pulled some strings and got it in. Where's my horn? Yeah,
where's your
where's
horn?
John to tell? I didn't even get my horn out for John. I'll just do it. Honk, honk. There you go. Yeah. So this puppet, it turns out it's available at Home Depot. Oh no, it's Spirit Halloween at Halloween time. It sells for $309. And they said that people buy it to keep the kids away from their house on Halloween
It
night.
is. It looks like that.
$309, Karen. You know, I can buy an awful lot of candy for $309 and
Yeah.
just pile it up in front of the house. Don't bother opening the door. You could, for $100, you could buy enough candy. Save your money. Don't put that scary thing out there.
It looks like that Chucky doll.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It looks scary, greasy, goofy.
Yeah.
Not what you want.
No.
What they did, so the owner finally showed up, and the owner said he didn't want it back because he had thrown it out, and someone must have found it in the trash and put it in somebody else's yard as a prank. Now, this is a very, not the person doing the prank, that's bad enough. Anybody who puts this in the trash, it gets what they deserve.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't, if I scare my trash man, I don't want to go out there when I find that, my can is turned over like you think that they emptied your can and they're on their way.
Yeah.
I pick that can up and God only knows what's going to be hiding under there. There's maybe an alligator from Florida.
I think this thing should have been buried.
Yeah, exactly, in a 7'7" hole. Good luck with that, Karen. Okay, we got a story from India coming up next. This guy, Sunil Joseph is his name. He has the new Guinness World Record for his collection of paper cups. He has in his collection 858 unique paper cups from 31 different countries. The biggest collection in the world. Even with all those paper cups, he still doesn't know how to whistle Dixie. And I should have my horn out. There it is. There we go. He doesn't know how to whistle Dixie. There's for your paper cup reference right there. Before I go on with the paper cups, he also collects razor blade wrappers. I didn't even know you could still get regular razor blades in wrappers. He collects airline boarding passes, which also you don't really get anymore, coffee mugs, and tea bags, which explains why he lives in an 8-bedroom house. He still sleeps on the couch in the living room because his collection fills up the rest of the house. He's collected paper cups for over 50 years worth of paper cup collecting.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I thought my husband was a pack rat.
Yeah, no, this guy is pack rat squared. Needless to say, he's got so many cups, the coffee cup. Every Starbucks in India, the employees know his name because they're tired of writing his name on the paper cup. So, good friend of the show, Gail, my buddy down in lives on a mountaintop in Tennessee. She sent me a message and she said, "Why would anyone do something like that?" And I told her it's really simple, so he can get mentioned on What in the World.
That's right.
Everybody wants to get mentioned on What in the World. Now, and I was thinking, I couldn't see any in his collection in this picture, but that's not all 800. My favorite paper cups, and you don't see them much anymore, were the ones that had the fold-out handles to make them look like regular coffee cup. Don't see those anymore. So I looked them up. They were actually developed in the 1930s because people were complaining that their coffee was too hot in a paper cup. They couldn't pick it up. 1933, a guy from Ohio by the name of Sidney Coons filed a patent for a handle to attach to paper cup. So he came up with the handle, and then Walter Cecil invented a paper cup that came with the handle already attached. So you would have thought Coons would have thought of that, but no, he just came up with the idea for the handle. The other guy came up with the idea of attaching it. Dixie cups, I thought had been around forever. They were invented in 1907 to prevent diseases, which kind of makes sense. Lawrence Llewellyn was his name in Boston, Massachusetts. He invented not only the paper cup, but he actually invented a water dispenser because people were getting sick from water fountains or whatever they drank their water out of. So he invented a sterilized water dispenser, and then they needed something sterile to drink the water out of. So he said, "Oh, I'll invent a cup," and he called it the health cup. And then he merged with he started a company, merged with a bunch of other companies, and eventually he saw this doll called a Dixie doll, and he decided to rename the cups the Dixie Cup. Here's a coincidence, though. Dixie Cup was eventually merged with American Can. So Dixie Cup and American Can are both the same company. Now, one more thing. The oh, there's a picture of a cup with a handle on it.
Yep.
This is the world's largest paper cup. It's in front of the Sweetheart Cup Company. It is, I'm not sure where it's at. Actually, it's made out of concrete, not paper, but it's 68.1 feet tall. So
wow.
Technically, it's the world's tallest representation of a paper cup, but they still get the record nonetheless. All right. The according to an obesity doctor at the University of Texas, the real Mona Lisa, not the real Mona Lisa, there's a picture of her, was actually overweight and unhealthy. And Leonardo da Vinci did her a favor, and he knocked off, 20, 30, God only knows how many pounds he knocked off of her and made her look healthier. Yeah, kind of makes her like, she's one of these models. What do you call them? The OnlyFans. This was like one of the first OnlyFans pictures, to kind of show her off. This also explains her nickname for Leonardo. She used to call him Leonardo the Zempic. Long way to go for a terrible joke there. I'll give myself a horn on that one. Yeah, Leonardo the Zempic. I don't think so. The John wouldn't have liked that one. It turns out Mona was her nickname because she was so overweight. It's the sound she made when Leonardo told her to stand up for a second. Oh yeah, same thing. Although I'll tell you what, I've been to the Louvre and I've seen the real Mona Lisa, and she still looks healthier than half the tourists that are standing there taking a selfie with it. I was thinking that this was back in the old days. They certainly didn't have cameras, but they didn't even have wallet-sized paintings. Poor Mona, if she wanted to see her own portrait, she would have to go to a museum. She couldn't get wallet-sized, copies from Leonardo to put in her wallet or her purse, give to her mother so her mother can show everybody off. Here's my daughter. You want to date her? She looks good in this picture. So the wallet-sized photo, for those of you interested, and this is for your trivia contest, your next trivia contest at the local tavern. Wallet-sized photos were invented in 1854, not long after the camera and the film were invented, by a French photographer. He perfected a camera that could take 8 small photographs, and then you could cut them up and give them to all your friends. Yeah, how about that? The precursor to what we used for a while. Now everybody carries the photos on their phone, so
absolutely.
You kids out
nobody
there don't even know. Yeah, the kids out there carrying, they don't even know what we're talking about. Wallet-sized photos. Yeah. Who are these old people? I'll tell you what. Old people who know the next story is real, and this comes from Japan. Their final story here. Canadian company teamed up with. It's really popular in Japan, and here's the reason why. They're called Chop Value. What they do is they take chopsticks, they take used chopsticks from restaurants. They grind them up and they turn them into pressed wood and make furniture out of it. They make furniture, they make wooden tiles, they make all kinds of stuff out of this. Yeah. Now, I think I speak for most Americans when I say I have never seen a used chopstick because the Chinese restaurants that I go to, nobody uses the chopstick. Everybody uses a fork and a spoon and a knife.
Right.
Right? Yeah. So I've never seen used chopstick, but they're sterilized, they're ground up, they're made into blocks. They separate them, the maple from the oak. They said that the wood is stronger than either one of those woods. Um, I don't know, I can't imagine sitting on a chair made out of chopstick. It just it just sounds too painful, Karen. But they even have a restaurant that specializes in furniture, chairs especially, made out of chopsticks. Japanese steakhouse. It's called Benny Henny's. Heine.
uh,
Oh, I blew it. Benny
that's
Heine. We're gonna have to take that out in post or post editing. So, we don't have chopsticks with used chopsticks here. In the restaurants that I go to, they have the plastic chopsticks. So what do we have made out of wood that we could turn into furniture? I'll tell you what, we have toothpicks. Toothpick. But then I thought, here's a picture of some furniture made out of toothpicks. They're about the size of a Barbie's house. You
yep,
know, to collect enough toothpicks to make into furniture would take far longer than anybody's would feel like waiting. And
right.
besides that, as bad as sitting on chopsticks must feel, who wants to sit on a chair made out of toothpicks?
Not me. No.
No, I wouldn't either. However, since we have all these unused chopsticks in the United States, I thought maybe there's a company that would want to make something out of unused chopstick. And sure enough, I found one that's making collapsible furniture out of chopsticks. Now they don't grind them up. They somehow connect all these chopsticks together. And that particular sofa right there, that's what it looks like, will
Whoa.
actually fold down and collapse, and somehow they can reconstitute it. I don't know if they add water or what, so that it pops up again into a couch that people can actually sit on. Now, you'll notice I don't have a picture of anybody sitting on it. So
No.
I don't necessarily believe that that's the case, but they swear collapsible furniture made out of chopsticks.
Okay. I think I'll pass on it.
Yeah, I don't want to sit on anything that's collapsible these days.
Yeah.
That's not my thing. Not my thing at all. All right. Well, that's our last story for my segment of What in the World. I hope you enjoyed those stories and are us having some fun with them. Now, normally at this point, we would turn to my old buddy John DiNallo, our co-host, our color commentator, our trivia and sports guy. He's also the host of the What in the World of Sports, where I asked him to come up with a sport that meets our slogan, real sport, sometimes strange, always funny. And our regular listeners will swear John comes up with a really good one every week.
Yep.
Uh, John's on vacation. He's on special assignment, so we have no John here. So what we're going to do for those fans of Bluff the co-host, we're going right to Bluff the co-host. Everybody,
Okay.
yeah, how about that? Everybody's favorite weird news game show. Oh, it's spreading across the country. Really a fun game. Rules are really simple. What do I have coming up next year? Oh, there we go. There's our little. I guess I can take that down there.
Yep.
We'll take that down and get back to our normal view here. Okay, so rules of Bluff the Co-host are very simple. I have 3 stories similar to the ones that I've been telling all afternoon. One big difference: those stories were real. These stories may be real, may be a bluff. So it's up to Karen, and if John were here, and John and all of you playing at home, to decide real or bluff. So betting is allowed. I normally have Karen put her hand on the buzzer, and I ask John to. Instead, I'll play for John. So let's see
Okay.
how I do. How I do in my own Bluff the co-host game. All right, story number 1. Organizers of the annual Gloucester Cheese Rolling Contest, that's Gloucester, England, have been looking for ways to add more excitement to the event. So one of the organizers went to Spain on vacation and came back with the answer. They would merge the cheese rolling contest with a bull run, like the famous running of the bulls in Pamplona, Spain. The new event will be called the Running of the Cheese Bulls and will be held on the same hill as the traditional cheese rolling. Participants will attempt to pick up a rolling 4-kilogram wheel of double Gloucester cheese, that's cheddar cheese, while being chased by 10 bulls who also like cheese. There's still some details to be worked out, but the organizers think there won't be an increase in injuries because the bulls will be more interested in getting the cheese than the people. And if a human runner wins, they get to keep the cheddar, plus they get a side of one of the losers. So that's bull, of course. The so the Gloucester cheese rolling contest is merging with the Pamplona Bull Run to create a new event where bulls chase people running down the hill chasing after the cheddar cheese. Real or bluff? Karen, we'll start with you.
I certainly hope this is a bluff because if bulls really like cheese, they're going to come bulling into me. And that could be very hurtful. So I'm going to say, please tell me it's a bluff.
Okay, they could bull you over. That's what they would do. Not even in a china shop.
Right.
Okay, so Karen says it's a bluff. Now, regular listeners know that the Gloucester cheese rolling contest is one of John's favorite sports of all time.
Right.
He loves talking about it. Uh, so I don't know. I'm not sure if John were here. I think John would be overcome by the excitement of even more cheese rolling types of sports to talk about on his segment of What in the World. I think John would say, I hope this is a real story. So John would go with real, while Karen goes with bluff. Okay, let's check with the judges, and the judges say, congratulations go to Karen. And anybody else who said, that's a bluff. But would I know I thought about it and I thought, no, I wouldn't even want to see it. I couldn't.
Yeah.
What kind of sick mind comes up with things like this? I
don't know.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So that means the score is 1-0. Oh, John would be a little bit upset at this point, but still ready to come back in round number.
Okay.
Yeah, let's get right to it. Weird Al Yankovic is best known for singing song parodies while playing the accordion, but he may have a new career soon now that he has invented a musical instrument made from bananas. The Yankovic banana synthesizer consists of real bananas connected to a circuit board with wires and clips. All but one of the bananas are played with one hand, like a piano keyboard, while the last one must be held in the other hand to act as a ground to complete the electronic circuit. The Yankovic banana synthesizer can sound like any musical instrument, so Weird Al is taking it with him on his summer concert tour to play songs like Yes, We Have No Bananas before taking it apart and sharing it with some lucky members of his audience. Okay, so Weird Al Yankovic has invented the Yankovic banana synthesizer made from real bananas that he will be playing in concert this coming summer. Real or bluff? We'll start with you again, Karen.
I'm hoping this is a bluff because bananas, they get overly ripe very quickly and then they smell. So, I mean, that would be sort of like a stinky concert. So I'm going to say it's a bluff.
Okay, Karen says it's a bluff. Have you ever been to a Weird Al concert?
No, and I don't have any plans to attend one.
Well, if you had, you would notice, you would find out that Weird Al is kind of stinky too. So
Oh yeah, I know that. Yeah.
So maybe you wouldn't notice it. I don't know. But that's a good point. So Karen uses logic to decide that rotten bananas or stinky bananas would turn her off, and she doesn't want to have anything to do with the banana synthesizer. She says it's a bluff. John, on the other hand, he loves all this weird kind of music. So I think John would say that's a real story. And we'll check with the judges, and the judges say, congratulations, go to John of all people. Believe it or not, Karen, that is a real story.
Wow.
Yeah. Yankovic banana synthesizer coming to a music store near you very soon.
Hey.
How about that? So that means the score is tied. Absent John won, Karen won. Points are doubled in round number 2, so anybody can win, or we'll have a tie. We'll see what happens. Story number 3. You may think you're eating an oatmeal raisin cookie, but you may want to look closer if you're in Japan. There, a hot new cookie is the wasp cracker. That's right, the cookies are made with whole dried digger wasp. And these black insects are about the size of raisins and almost as chewy. Collecting digger wasps to sell to bakeries has become a lucrative side hustle for retired workers in Japan who catch thousands of them in traps, dry them in the sun, and then take them and sell them to bakeries where they are baked into cookies and eaten by people who dig the diggers but don't want to dig them themselves. It's perfectly healthy and the wasps are high in protein, but you may want to ask for extra icing because the wasps are said to smell a little fishy. Okay, so people in Japan are eating cookies made with dried wasp that are collected by people who are retired. Real or bluff? Karen, we'll start with you one more time.
Well, it's a very convoluted story. Part of me thinks it's real because I know more and more insects are being used in foods. But the fact that retired people are the ones who are collecting them, I'm going to say it's a bluff.
Oh, so you're saying it's half real and half a bluff or all bluff?
I'm going to say it's a whole bluff.
It's a whole bluff. Okay,
Whole
bluff. It's a whole bluff. Okay, a new category there for Karen. Goes Karen says it's a bluff. John, I like, John doesn't like eating any kind of weird stuff. I know that because I've gone out to eat with John. So he wouldn't be turned on. Well, he wouldn't want to eat these digger cookies. I'm gonna say he'll agree with you, Karen, and say that it's a bluff as well. So let's check with the judges, and the judges say, congratulations go to no one and both of you because that is a real story. Yes, people in it that both sides of that are true, Karen. They're retired people are making extra money on the side, catching these digger wasps and drying them out themselves and selling them to the bakeries who then
Wow.
make the cookies. Yeah, yeah. Uh, unfortunately, we couldn't do anything like that here because nobody wants to eat wasps, let alone any kind of insect. But the good news is that means that both of you scored one, that the scores are tied. So you both go home as winners, or John will come home eventually as a winner, and he'll be happy next week. And on that note, we have reached the end of Bluff the co-host. Congratulations out there to everybody else who may have scored better than Karen and John. I hope you did. And the guy who comes up with those stories isn't as weird as you think he is. So don't.
You say so.
But again, on that note, we've reached the end of another episode of What in the World. I want to thank Karen, our producer, co-host, the media mogul at newclevelandradio.net, our platform, and our the person, the driving force behind us joining forces with Cleveland 13 News and ending up as we have today, nominated for Best Local News Podcast in Cleveland. So we're going to continue to celebrate after the podcast is over. And we'll keep you informed. But what we want you to do is vote for us. You can get the link in the show notes. You can get the link from my Facebook page, from Karen's Facebook page. I'll have it up on my website. Karen will have it up on her website. Vote, 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 vote. It's very important, and we'll be thrilled if we win. Even though, yeah, we said it's an honor just to be nominated. Ha ha. We want to win. Okay? So help us out. Help us out. And then go to Cleveland 13 News and watch the show there. You can go to YouTube, watch the show there. You can download us on your favorite platform and listen to us, whatever you do. Follow us, like us, do all those good things so we know you're out there. You can send me messages on Facebook. You can send Karen messages on Facebook. We love to hear from you.
Yes,
love to hear from you. As I mentioned, my buddy Gail, I hear from her. Marion's a longtime listener of ours. She likes to send us stuff all the time. You send us a story, we'll be more than happy to use it, and we'll give you full credit for it. So please do that. Everybody wants to be on What in the World. So you can be one of those famous people. So I would thank John if he were here. He's not here, so I'll thank him the next time I see him. And on that note, the Bigfoot June 11th, the Scrappers game, week and a
Next
half.
week.
Yeah.
So, check out the website and meet us at the game. That would be great.